You really can't have a course about how you work faster in Excel without having a chapter with shortcuts, because you will use shortcuts all the time when you work in Excel. And in this video, you will learn my favorite 10, and hopefully you will learn a new shortcut and some tips and tricks connected to those shortcuts. Let's start with the Control 1, which lets you select everything. If you use the shortcut when you're in data, you will select all the data that's connected to the cell that you're selecting. Let's say we select this cell, press Control 1, we will select that table. If we're outside in an empty cell, we will select the entire sheet. But also if we're in a table and press on Control A and then Control A another time, then we will select everything. And I usually use this with the quick access toolbar, auto adjust the column width. And with many of the shortcuts that I will show you, you can use them outside Excel as well. This Control A works in Google Chrome, all the Windows softwares, a PDF file, Word file. If you want to select everything, just press on Control A instead of dragging the mouse and try to select everything. Then we have the Control plus and Control minus, which will add or remove a column or a part of a column or row. Let's say you want to add a column between the C and D column. Press on the column to the right, the D column, and then press Control plus. If you just select a couple of cells like this and press on Control plus, a box will appear asking you, do you want to shift these cells to the right or down? In this case, we want to shift them to the right. We just press on OK. And I usually use this shortcut to rearrange columns. For example, if you want to have the quantity before the berries, what I do is that I cut the D column with Control X or right click and cut it. And then I select the column where I want to move it to. So I select the C column and press on Control plus. And that will move the column from one place to another place. The third shortcut that I will show you is the F4 key, and you will use it all the time when you make references. Let's say we make a quick reference to the D5 cell here. You can see that we are standing here next to the D5. That means that when we press on F4, we will affect the D5 to be absolute references, not relative references, and this will make absolute to both the column and the row. If we press on it another time, you will see that it will only be for the row, only the column, and then back to fully relative. But the F4 key has another use case. It will repeat what you did lastly. Let's say you fill this color with yellow and you want to fill another cell with yellow. Then you just select that cell and press on F4 and you will repeat your last action. Then we have the F2 key. If you don't want to use your mouse that much, then you will need to use the F2 key, which will set you into edit mode into the cell that you're in. Let's say you use the arrow keys and then you find your cell and you want to add something to the formula. Then you press on F2 to enter the formula bar, and here you can make changes. Also, I use this shortcut outside Excel when I want to change names of files. Then I just press on F2 and I will enter the edit mode, and I can much quicker change the names of files. A shortcut that's so common that you probably know about it is the Control Z that will undo what you just did. And you can press on it multiple times, but it will not work if you've run a macro. So if you run a macro, you will not be able to undo what you did before you run the macro. So make sure that before you run the macro, it does what it should do and that you don't want to undo things that you did previously. The sixth shortcut is Control-Alt-V, and what it will do is that it will open up a paste box and you can choose between how you want to paste it. First, you copy something, then you go to another cell, Control-Alt-V, open up this paste special. Here you can choose if you want to paste the formulas, the values, and I usually use these values. That means that you have a formula that will return a value, and if you want to paste just the value, not the entire formula, into another cell, then you select these values. You could also multiply the cell that you copied into the cells that you select. That means that if you copy -1 and then multiply it into cells with values, you will change it from being positive to being negative and negative to being positive. You also have the option to transpose. That means that you will rearrange the cells that you copied from example being in rows to be in different columns, and the other way around, of course. The 7th shortcut is Control-Shift followed by either 1 or 5. With the 5, you will change the format to be percentage, and with 1 to be a number format with 1000 separator, but with 2 decimals. If you press on these cells up here, Control-Alt-5, you'll see that they will now be percentage. Control-Alt-1, they will now be a number format with 1000 separator, but with 2 decimals. If you use filters a lot, Control-Shift-L will be gold for you. With Control-Shift-L, you will set filters to your data. Let's select the cell up here, Control-Shift-L, and you can see that you can now use the filter for this data. A quick way to move around in your different sheets is to use the Control and page up and down, which will change the sheet either to the right or to the left. So it's very easy to go to the left or to the right to get to the sheet that you want to. And connected to this, if you go here to the bottom left corner, you will see 2 arrows. If you right click on it, you will open up a box with all the sheets in your workbook, and you can choose the one you want to activate. You also have the option to hold the control button and press on the arrow to the right, which will take you to the furthest right. And if we hold the control button, press on the arrow to the left, you will go to the furthest left. And that's how you easily could navigate through your file. And lastly, perhaps the best shortcut is the Control-E, which is the quick fill. What it does is that Microsoft Excel tries to sense a pattern and try to replicate it. For example, if we want to extract the 3 first letters here for the berries, let's write it 1 time, go to the cell underneath, press on Control-E, and you'll see that Excel tried to sense a pattern. Oh, it's probably the 3 first cells that the user wants to have, and then it fills that downwards. So instead of using a left function, you can use this quick fill shortcut instead. But I warn you to be a bit careful and look through how it sensed your pattern, because it's not always correct. And that's my top 10 shortcuts to make your work more efficient in Excel.